Just love that morning coffee. Now you can tell by the sun, it's totally afternoon, but it's kind of a little bit chilly and I want a coffee. Hey, this is my 1980 GMC Jimmy. You've seen it on the channel quite a bit. There's a long history about it. It's all original, which is really cool. I almost burned it down. How? Well, I'll show you. I didn't. It's still here. But yeah, I almost burned it down. Stay tuned to find out how you too can prevent your square body from fire by neglect. Every car has its own story, but they all have something in common. They each need someone to help them tell that story. And that's where you and I come in. Now, I'm no expert. I've learned what I can over the years, but I do this for fun in my driveway like so many of you. And that's what this channel is about. We're going to try some new things, we're gonna laugh, and we're gonna have fun with cars. My name is Tony, and this is Stay at Home Garage. Don't know if you can hear it or not, but that business across the street has one of those ringers that you can hear outside. And it has been going off since 8 a.m. this morning. It's Saturday, they're not at work. They're not there. Quit calling, leave a message. Anyway, I gotta put my coffee down. Okay. I'm gonna bring you in here and show you exactly how I almost burned this puppy to the ground. So this is my 1980 GMC Jimmy, all original 350. It's so cool. It even has like this little tag on here. There we go. That's original grease right there. But anyway, it even tells you when it was made, November 1979. It's a 5.7 liter, which means it's a 350 engine. Obviously, you know, you have to flip the lid because that adds at least 194 horsepower. Anyway, we want to get to, Tony, how did you almost burn down this beautiful, amazing, wonderful vehicle that you love so much? I'll give you a hint. It has to deal with this and with this. All right. Well, I'm going to tell you this quick story, and I know I can get long-winded. Some of you guys tell me that in the comments. You just say, Tony, get to the point. So I'm going to try something a little bit new. That's going to be a hyper-speed story. Ready? So for months, this thing has been really hard to start. What you would do is whenever you would turn over the key, you would go, wah, 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 and then it would start. And then sometimes it would even do it worse. It would go, wah, 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 da, 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 da. And it was taking a lot of volts, amps, all of the electricity to make this engine start, especially when it was hot. So I did the right thing and ignored that, which is something you should not do. That is not the right thing. So again, do as I say, not as I do. If your vehicle is hard to start, then please check your battery terminals. My battery terminals were dirty and corroded because this thing sits outside quite a bit. So you need to correctly clean your terminals and your battery cables. Now, I am running out of breath. Whatever, okay, all right, I can't do it. Moral of the story is, for months, this thing has been really hard to start, and I've needed to clean the battery terminals. Battery terminals and battery cables. I'll get you in here a little bit closer and show you. Well, it finally did it one day, where this thing was so hard to start, especially when the engine was hot, just because it wasn't making great connection here. Gosh, it really wasn't. And so it finally, one day whenever I was actually filming something with some of my friends, it was and then it just gave out, nothing. And so I came out to look at the battery cables, and I'll show you what I found. So I've already cleaned them up a little bit, but we're actually going to be replacing this. This thing was so corroded. It was so bad. But all those times that it was hard to start and that I was just ignoring it, look how crispy that thing got. It got so hot. That is supposed to be a copper color almost. But I'll tell you one thing, it is not supposed to look like that. That is a pretty crispy negative cable. It got so hot, it melted on this side. Look at all the corrosion rust on this, but it melted that. Where's the other part of it? Oh yeah, it's on the battery. I can't even get that out because it's now hard at, nope, wait, I can. There it is. But look at that. That is melted negative battery cable right there. I could have avoided this if I would have just cleaned my terminals and my battery cables. But instead, I decided to almost burn down this beautiful truck. So, while I was looking at that, I discovered, well, ooh, yeah, this one is still very corroded, and it's corroded so much that, look at this, it broke when I tried to tighten it down. So this guy needs new terminal. So instead of doing the whole battery cable, I'm just going to see if I can replace this part right here. So the moral of the story is clean your battery terminals and clean your cables. It doesn't take very long. They even make tools to make it easy for you. They look like little things of death if you ever put your finger in one of them, or a great exfoliating thing, but they work great on battery terminals and battery cables. So if your car is hard to start, especially if it's an older car like mine, look at that first thing and don't just ignore it, because this thing got so hot it melted the cable, and that very well could have messed up my entire electrical system. It could have, if it was hot enough to melt the battery cable like that, it could have, maybe this whole thing could have caught on fire. So now I'm going to replace this negative cable, a whole new one, since that one's extra crispy, and then I'm going to replace the battery terminal area for or only a positive side. Before you guys come at me in the comments, yes, my radiator is currently held in by zip ties. How's yours held in, huh? How's yours mounted correctly? Good for you! We'll fix that one day, but right now, zip ties are doing the job. Okay, we have our new negative cable and our new top post terminal. Let's get the old one off. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty crispy. Oh, you can even just hear the crispiness. That sounds like a campfire. Here, close your eyes. Campfire sounds. Yeah. Hey, trash can, catch. Close. So my negative cable went and mounted to grounded, I guess, to the alternator bracket. So it's always a good idea, wherever your negative cable goes and mounts, it's always a good idea to clean it off and make sure it's making a good connection. So I got my little steel brush here. Gonna get some dirt and grease off this thing, make sure that our new guy gonna make a really good connection. Hopefully I got one that was long enough. We'll see. Have to find out. Okay, here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna ground. Okay, and you're gonna ground better than all of them. Okay, yep, we got plenty long. We're good. when you're putting these on, you always want to try to make sure that, these things will flop around in here a little bit. So see if you can kind of test where these things are going to be laying and landing and all that stuff. So that way you can try to do a good job at positioning them in here in such a way where they won't get caught up in the alternator and the fan belts, or be shorting out against something if it rubs up against the frame or whatever it might be. Just kind of do a good job of making sure that the battery cable is secured and it won't short out or rub against to cause a short against anything else. That makes sense, sure. Coffee break. Negative side's installed. Now we got to take care of the positive side, or what does Vice Grip Garage call it? It's like the happy cable. There's a sad cable and the happy cable. Listen, he says that. He's funny. He's funny. I wish I could be friends with him. He also knows a lot more than I do. If you haven't checked out his channel, listen, I'm not friends with him, but I just respect the heck out of what he does and all of his knowledge and how he does things 10 zillion times better than I do. If you haven't checked out his channel, go see what Vice Grip Garage is doing. I just like giving credit where credit is due. All right, so for those of you that have not done this before, instead of replacing this whole cable, right, we're just going to replace just this terminal part. So what I want to do is I'm going to have to cut this part out and then strip the wire back enough where I can put this new battery terminal on the cable. You can buy these at your local auto parts store. I don't know if Harbor Freight has them. They may, I'm not sure. But get them on Amazon, get them at your local parts store. If there's any locally owned parts stores, let's support those. But basically, you just strip the battery cable just like you're stripping a wire whenever you're wiring something. And then the part that's exposed after you strip it back, you slide it in here. I'll show you how to do this, but you slide it in here, tighten it down, new battery terminal. Let's see if I can do this. Okay, I'm going to use these wire cutters. There's probably a better way to do this, but I'm going to use these wire cutters to see if I can make a cut here. Oh goodness, wait a second. This guy's feels like it was already loose. Hey, can you just come on out? See what you can just come on out of there. Wouldn't that be cool? This thing might just come on out. Let's see. Oh. If not, this is already working. Ow! Watch is still good. We're still good. Hey, look, he came out. Oh. In my real job, I actually work with cameras and microphones and stuff like that quite a bit, and then stuff like that happens, and it's like, what do I do with my life? I just broke my little really expensive microphone receiver, but hey, it's still receiving sound. That's all we needed to do. We're gonna press on. Okay. Okay, so we got the battery terminal off. Now we want to skin some of this cable back so we can put on the new terminal. And what I'm doing is I'm just using these regular wire cutters to see if I can do something like this. They're still calling that business. They're not home. They're not working today. Okay, so now that we got it stripped correctly, that might actually be a little bit too much, but hey, you know what? Better too much than not enough. That's probably incorrect, but whatever. Let's put this guy on. How you open it? Is this child locked? Where's those snippers? There, okay. What is the tool that you guys should have in your garage that you don't, but maybe like you have it inside, but you just don't bring it outside? Mine, scissors. I don't have scissors in my garage, but I have some in the house. So why do I do that? I don't know. What's something that you do? Comment. Let's have a conversation. Say, hey, Tony, I think you're really stupid at what the things you do. Hey, Tony, I don't want to be you. Frosted Flakes suck. Get it? Like Tony the Tiger? All right. Well. So now we've loosened these bolts up just enough to scoot this guy in. Be careful. These little wires, they can puncture you. Okay, I cut this battery cable back a little bit more so not so much of it was exposed. So now you take this and you insert it right there. Let's loosen these up a little bit more. Okay, so now you put that in there. Just like that, okay. And now, make sure this is nice and seated in there properly as it should be. I'm going to tighten this down a little bit. Okay, we're going to tighten it all the way down now. Tight. Tight. Give it a little tug. Make sure we're not moving here. Yep, okay, that's not going. As every DIYer says, that ain't going nowhere. Okay, so before I connect the new battery cable and battery terminals, I am going to clean off the battery terminals on the battery. This is a really cool tool. If you don't have one, you need one, okay? So if you have a post battery, like I do here, you just put the post in this guy and you clean them off. Some people say like you can put Coca-Cola and that'll take all the corrosion and stuff like that off. Now, I've actually done that before and it works, but I don't know. There's just something about soaking Coke or soaking your parts in Coca-Cola that just seems like, I don't know. I think it also takes off the protective coating on some of the parts. I don't know. There's science behind it, and I'm like, listen, there's a tool. Let's use the tool. That's all I'm saying. So now, clean this off. I don't need to clean off the terminals because they're both new, but this also has a tool on this side that you can put it in the terminals and clean them off just like that. So you need one of these. Go to your parts store and get a battery terminal cleaner. All right, let's connect them. Let's double check everything. Battery terminal tight, negative side tight. I went ahead and put a zip tie in here to make sure this thing wasn't just flopping around, but we should be good. I think we'll be fine. Okay, now, moment of truth. Let's start it. Now, this thing hasn't been started in a long time. I almost burned this down probably, let's see, 3 weeks ago? Yeah, around 3 weeks ago. Almost a month ago, actually. And so I just put it in there and I parked it. So this is going to be a true cold start. So it's going to take a little while. All right, but all the lights and everything like that's coming on, so electrical system still intact. You know what? Hold on. I need my coffee for this. Tony, what'd you use the rubber mallet for? Don't ask. Well, hey, but it cranked over though, so we're good. All right. Give him some more gasoline. Here we go. Mm-hmm. Yep. Starter still works. Oh, pay no attention to that smoke coming out. So right now I have my choke wired open for some reasons. But that's going to be an upcoming project that I'm so happy to share with you guys here soon. Hey, that's a boom shakalaka! Okay. We're charging. Great oil pressure. Hot jambalaya. I love this truck. Every time I don't drive it for a little while, I remember how much I love it when I get back in it. You ever just enjoy some sun? All right, so seems like everything is working accordingly. I'm actually gonna let it sit here and idle for a little bit, get up to operating temperature, because what the problem was is whenever the engine would get hot, and after I was driving it around for a little bit, and then I'd make a quick stop, run to a store, and then come back out, that is whenever it was really hard to start. So we're gonna get it up to operating temperature and see if the true issue is fixed. I'm gonna go ahead and clean up a little bit, and I don't know, maybe we'll take it for a drive. We'll see what happens. Woo, it's so warm you could cook biscuits on the hood. That's not true, that'd mean it'd be overheating. But it is up to operating temperature. I've had it idling for about the last 10 minutes, maybe a little bit more. But we should be good to go. Here is the moment of truth. Does it start right up, or does it do the thing? Let's see. All right. I'm gonna call that fixed. All right, everyone, I think I'm gonna call this fixed. I love driving this thing. See, if I would've just did what I was supposed to do, then I wouldn't have been missing out on driving this truck for the last month. Here's what we learned. When there is something wrong with your vehicle, if you feel like something is off, just stop and take a look at it. You know, whether that's power steering, whether that be the battery terminals that are dirty, whether that be it's kind of hard to start, it's kind of pulling to the left or to the right or whatever. Just stop, investigate it, see if you can diagnose maybe if there's something wrong, off, or whatever it might be. And the reason why we want to do this is because it could lead to different safety issues. So if there's something feels off about your vehicle, stop and try to take a look, try to find out what's wrong with it. This is something very easy that you can do. Clean off your battery terminals. And if I would have cleaned off my battery terminals when I knew better, I knew I should have, then I almost wouldn't have burned down one of my favorite vehicles. So, if you like this video, please consider subscribing. I love doing these things. I love doing this channel. And the more subscribers that we have, the more opportunity that I have to work on these cars and bring you guys some entertainment. Hey, he liked the vehicle. We'll take it. Anyway, subscribe to Stay Home to Garage. Give it a like. Comment. Tell me how horrible I am. Tell me if you like me. Whatever. We'll see you next time. We got more projects coming your way. I have something that I want to do on this right here, Jimmy, that I think is going to be a lot of fun and make it driving it a little bit easier. See you next time.